It is Western New York, CJ Country. It is Jimmy, and frankly, there is no introduction that will suffice for the gentleman on my phone. Alan Alda has won 7 Emmy Awards, 3 Tony nominations. He is an inductee of the Television Hall of Fame. He was nominated for an Academy Award for his role in The Aviator. And of course, he played Hawkeye Pierce on the classic TV series MASH. He's written 2 bestsellers. He has also founded the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science at Stony Brook University. And his latest book is a great one. If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? Mr. Alda, it's a pleasure.
Alan, please. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, Alan, it is. And of course, we're going to talk about your book, but I think my listeners might string me up if I don't talk a little bit about your acting or ask anything about MASH at all.
Yeah, sure.
Now, in your vast acting career, a lot of the roles that I've seen anyway, you are this affable, likable guy. And when you were in The Aviator, which you got nominated for, it was disconcerting. You were great in it, but it was this greasy, oily politician. Does that ever put off or bother some of your hardcore fans when you do those dark roles?
No, but you know what's funny is I think at least half of the characters I've played in my whole life have been very flawed, sometimes really disgusting people. And something weird, every time I do that, somebody says, well, you've never done that before, have you? And I do it about half the time. I think the problem is I show up in person, like as we're talking now, and I guess I cover the country with the slime of my amiability, and they're shocked when they see me do something else. So that's good. It's a surprise for a lot of people.
Now, Alan, obviously, Hawkeye Pierce and MASH, that series, I mean, is gonna echo down the corridors of time. But you tend to be a live in the now kind of person. You don't dwell much on the past, and you don't watch. I know this about you. You don't go back and watch a lot of your old work.
Yeah, I don't look back much. I mean, I'm very proud of MASH, and I'm very touched and moved by people's stories that they tell me of how they bonded with their father watching the show. Moments like that really are very rewarding to hear. But otherwise, I don't think about the show. It's so long ago, it almost as if it happened to somebody else.
It's one thing to accept all the pleasantries and all the nice things people say about, your career and be touched by them. But are you able to step outside of yourself and see it from their angle and stuff? Because that's the real understanding, I guess, of how people feel about you and your work.
Well, some people. I was just at an event last night to talk about the book, and there were a few hundred people that came up and asked for a book to be signed, and they were so personal and moving that I was really touched by it. You don't really know when you do a television show how it's landing on the audience. We didn't know the extent to which people responded to it until the last episode, when half of the country was home watching it at the same time.
Right.
But when you talk to somebody face to face and you find out how they were affected by something you did, you really it's an odd feeling, because they were out there all the time and you didn't know they were there. But there's been a contact between the two of you. That's in a way what the book is about too, because whenever we communicate with people, even if we don't see them in front of us, we're having an effect on them.
Sure.
And if we can't get some idea of what that effect is, we're probably not communicating very well.
Well, let's talk about the book now. If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? My Adventures in the Art and Science of Relating and Communicating. Now, you are a man of science, and originally you had worked out the concept of showing apathy. Doctors and scientists showing apathy to patients and their students to help them gain a greater understanding, to really connect with them in the way they hadn't before. And in doing that, you realize there was more to it. This could be far-reaching beyond just scientists and doctors. This could affect families, husbands, wives, a lot of people.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We started. We've trained at that Center for Communicating Science. We've trained around the United States and across the world over 8,000 scientists and doctors. And in the course of that, we realized, I realized, and this is what made me write the book, that it really, this approach to communicating really applies to everybody, to people in love, to people married, living together, parents and children, people in business, bosses, employees, people on teams, trying to get somewhere together and all pull in the same direction. That's a real communication problem.
Yeah.
And these techniques we've found over the years really transform people and make them better able to do their jobs because they're communicating better.
Now, showing empathy to others isn't an art of manipulation. You're not trying to trick somebody into getting what you want out of them. This will actually teach you to be more empathetic, won't it?
Yeah. And the empathy is really just a tool for communication, the way I use it in the book. Some people think of empathy as being compassionate and a nice person and doing good works. But I think if you think about it, you can think of examples where empathy has been used against people. When a bully makes you feel bad, he's very aware of how your feelings are working. He's using your feelings against you. And that's not compassion. But if you want to exercise some compassion, or if you want to just help a person understand how you feel about something, the best way to do it is to try to figure out what's going on from their perspective, how they look at things. And that's empathy, and that's the use of empathy to make communication work better.
When you look at the world we're living in right now and you look at things like social media, it looks like empathy is something we could definitely use towards one another right now because it's bad. A lot of bad behavior. People are unapologetic about it. They're like, this is my right to feel this way. And there's a lot of that. And we could, like I said, we could use empathy right now.
Yeah, well, it is interesting. From bullying on the internet to diplomacy among nations, it really is important to take the other person's perspective. It is what's going on in that person's head while you're unleashing your feelings and thoughts. And people have written about diplomacy, for instance. I was really surprised to see this after I wrote the book. Several people I read said, you can't have diplomacy without taking into account the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
And that's empathy. And that's what we help people have more of when we do our training and what I write about in the book.
Legendary actor Alda on the phone, and his new book now, If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? My Adventures in the Art and Science of Relating and Communicating. This could help me with doing my interviews, couldn't it? I mean, like, when I have somebody here in the studio with me, it's easier to communicate because they can see me, I can give hand signals, I can give vocal cues, and we can relate better. We're making eye contact. I do have good phone interviews, but it's a tougher connect to make because you can't see the other person.
Yeah, I know that it's harder when you can't see the person, and the next worst step is when you can't even hear them and you're just writing to them. But you still can pick up clues. I think you can hear things in my voice. I hear tones in your voice. I hear the speed with which you're talking. I hear your energy, and I'm really trying to respond to those cues as I get them. As I sense them. And the more sensitive I am to what's coming out of you, the more authentic will be what comes out of me, and it won't be just a stock message.
And that's interesting because I think about the fact that you've been doing interviews for this book since May. You've been on everything. I've seen you on the late night talk shows. I've seen you in daytime. You are everywhere talking about this book. How does it not become routine, perfunctory, dull, just spitting out the information over and over again, every time, being able to deliver it and be earnest about it?
Well, what's interesting, there's a different person on the other side each time. And if I find out who, or just try to estimate who this person is in their heart of hearts, what makes them different from other people? What is there about them that's able to capture my attention, and I respond to that. And it's just like dancing. Every time you dance with somebody, it's a little different, and that's kind of fun.
Oh, you're right. And this has been amazing. This has been so much fun, and it's such an honor to talk to you. I don't think I've felt my feet since this interview started.
Thank you.
Alda, the book, If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? My Adventures in the Art and Science of Relating and Communicating. I've got a link up on the Facebook if anybody wants to find it. Alan, it's been so nice to talk to you. Happy 4th of July, and hopefully at some point we'll meet up again.
All right. That's great. Thanks so much. I appreciated it. And it was fun to talk to you.